All right, welcome everybody to our LSA office hours. It's 2 after, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time, so we're going to go ahead and get rolling. Just a couple of housekeeping things before we get started. If you would be so kind as to make sure you mute yourselves, that way we can ensure a smooth presentation, and we'll have time for Q&A at the end. There is also a questions section of our chat. If you have any questions at all, please enter your question there and we will get to it. If we get too many questions and we run out of time, don't worry, we will address those questions um, after these office hours. So your question isn't just going to be asked and then disappear. So no worries there. All righty, so let's get started. Oh, and we are recording this. So if anybody in your organization would like to review this after the fact, we will be happy to provide that recording to you. All right, so with that being said, hello everyone. My name is Aaron Dunn. I'm the HMIS product manager here at Eccovia. I've been with Eccovia now for about a year. I've been in the HMIS world for a little bit longer than that. Yeah, so that's me. Chris, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Chris. I'm the one of the SQL engineers at Eccovia. I've been the engineer for the LSA fiscal year 2019, one that we're discussing, obviously. Been with the company for a little over 3.5 years, and been exciting to work on this project and trying to do all I can to make sure it's been successful. So, yeah.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, Chris has been instrumental throughout this whole process. He's probably sick of looking at and speaking to me. we've worked so closely over the past year throughout this entire LSA process. So you've met our team. There's a couple other members of our team here on the call. They'll be helping us field some questions. So I just wanted to launch right into our agenda. This is kind of what it looks like today. I'm just going to show you all a few things that have kind of come up across the board. I know there are specific, issues that every client, every community has, but these are kind of the ones that we've noticed are coming up across the board. So I just want to run through those, and then, like I said, there will be time at the end for questions and answers. So with that being said, I'm going to exit out of our slideshow here and launch into our first topic, which is removing old LSA runs. So I'm in a development environment here. None of this is live data. It's all dummy data that we've input into the system. So if we come here to the preview LSA 2020 runs, you can see that myself and our QA team and Chris, we've been running LSAs for a while now, just testing everything out. And so if it gets to the point where you want to come in here and remove some of your old LSA runs, it's really kind of a simple matter of coming to the action button and clicking set for removal. And Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, this is only for runs that have not completed.
Yeah, if there's a set for remove option for anything, you can obviously click it. We mostly aim it towards failed runs. It just leaves some excess data out there that doesn't get cleaned up like a completed LSA run would. Typically at the end of the LSA, as of the latest update, the data behind the scenes gets removed after the export has been run and you've received your LSA.
Great, thank you, Chris. So you're saying that the system kind of cleans it out as well?
Yeah, as long as it runs through successfully.
Great, thank you. All right, I'm not seeing many questions roll in right now, so I'm going to keep on going. Our next topic is the LSA data quality report. We had some questions around this, and Chris was kind enough to kind of separate out the data quality for us. So whenever you go in to run your LSA, you're going to fill in the fields as you would normally. I'm just going to select a COC that I know has, again, dummy data in it. Right, and then whenever you are running the data quality report, you want to make sure that you've got this button checked, the data quality report. And then whenever you hit run your export, it's going to generate your LSA export, and then it will also generate a separate data quality report CSV that you can then obviously download and extract, and this is what it's going to look like. And so this, we hope that this will allow you to kind of triage your data a little bit earlier than getting the flag files back. 1 second, I do see that we are getting some questions in. All right, we'll get to the questions in just a moment. All right, so that's how you run your data quality, and that's how you can check it. And then, as we all know, we're going to submit your upload your export into HDX, and just like last year, we've been told that every Tuesday and Thursday, the team on the HUD side of things, Apt Associates, will be running those exports for the flags and hopefully getting those back to you quickly. They're saying a day turnaround right now, so hopefully they can keep with that cadence. And it's also important to note that if you do have issues with your flags, whether they be a client flag or a vendor flag, it's very helpful to us if you either give those to your client success managers, or if you submit an issue through support, if you upload that flag file as well. That helps us triage that data a lot easier. And kind of to that end, just today we actually got the full flag list from Apt Associates. Their GitHub repository for the LSA is public, and that's where this is located. So if you want to go in and take a look yourself at what the list of flags are, what they actually mean, and what their description is, it's all there on that GitHub for you. So you can go in and take a look. All right, and the last thing I've got really on the agenda before we get to the Q&A portion is the LSA Quick Glance, which is new this year. Chris developed this for us. Chris, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so the idea with the Quick Glance, which we're still looking for feedback on as we build it out, kind of just provided a basic thing, a basic report to tell you what is and isn't being included in the descriptors for the LSA. So the idea was to quickly be able to look up, okay, which projects aren't being included, or one of the 5 descriptors aren't being included, and then get a reason why, whether it's not a continuing project or just some basic things, maybe just setup data problems, just to quickly identify those. That was one of the identified issues. One of the most common things we found from last year was that there were people that we couldn't figure out right offhand why some of our setup data wasn't working the way we expected from different customers. So this was kind of built out and according to that, just to provide a basic level quickly identify what might be wrong with setup data. So we are still working on it right now. Obviously, our importance is resolving issues, but yeah, we have been looking towards different admins of COCs to build this out to make it more usable and be more helpful to everyone. This is not a head requirement. We built this out because we wanted to make things a little bit less stressful. So.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, we hope that this has helped triage things kind of on the front end. And as Chris said, any feedback that you all have on this, we would love to hear. We're committed to making this LSA as smooth as possible. And then, it doesn't seem like the LSA is going to go away anytime soon. So we want to take that feedback and start preparing for next year as well. And so that's kind of the end of what I had planned. So I wanted to spend the bulk of the time working with you all on your questions. And I see that we've got a few here in the chat, and I'm just going to kind of run through those, in order. So the first question we have is, what would be the reason to remove an old LSA run? So Chris, would you like to field that one?
Yeah, so I'm sure some of you have run into the timeout issues. These are typically related to SQL Server spending excess time trying to gather or query all the data that it needs. Now we do see an impact with data that remains in there in the staging tables. Now this is just used for doing all the LSA calculations, where when that data kind of piles up on each other, where we start seeing millions and millions of records, in certain tables, it can get 1 million records within one LSA run. We start to see slowness, and we've been working on optimizing all these queries to try to account for this excess data. But in some cases, there's only so much we can do. So we recommend removing these, and they get removed at night during the nightly processes. And then, but the other thing to note on that is that successful runs do clear those out after it is done with all that data. And again, this is just purely for staging and doing calculations. Once you have your export data, and the data that is actually exported remains within the database, this just allows you to facilitate any problems, and if you're struggling with timeout issues. If you don't have timeout issues, it's not a problem. And obviously, if you are struggling with these timeout issues, there are a few key things that we're working with, and a few key COCs that we are working with to try to resolve these. That's still very high priority for us, but this may help resolve them if they error out. So that's the main purpose of it. But again, if you're not running into these issues, it's not as big of a deal.
Great, thank you, Chris. The next question is, we were told that these runs were put in another place so that the data would not impact run times, etc. So are the only runs that could impact our environment the ones that error out?
So there's a few things to keep in mind with these. They are still running within your database. So while they are being offloaded to a schema, as well as tables that are not actively in use, the database is still actively in use. So if there are a lot of transactions going on, whether it's creating clients, going through HMIS functions, those are still, SQL Server is still processing those and still has to account for those when doing these queries. Now we do try to decouple them as much as we can, as much as SQL Server allows. It's really, we don't expect much of an impact for normal system use, but due to how SQL Server kind of deals with this stuff, we do still have to account for it. While it is best to run it in least active hours, it's not completely necessary for smaller CLCs. If you do experience timeout issues, which this latest update did help resolve quite a few. If you are still experiencing them, give it a try in non-active hours. But yeah, you really shouldn't see too much of an impact unless you are a larger CSC that uses has a lot of system use. So hopefully that answers your question.
Great, thank you, Chris. To continue on down the line, we continue to get an LSA upload error report due to missing values on the LSA exit.csv. Any update timing for a fix?
So I'm assuming it's in regards to the head of household, vet, disability, those statuses. That is an active issue we are tracking and trying to come up with a resolution. As far as applying it to the report, a lot of these issues are in regards to data itself, with the head of household being deleted and active enrollments being assigned to that. The cause, it varies. For some, we've seen imports as the cause, import data being assigned to deleted clients, and I don't know, I don't work in that department. So hopefully the support team has been working with you in supplying what those clients are, those deleted clients are. If you haven't, try following up with the support representative. Again, we are still working on a report level fix. It's a little more complicated than we initially thought, but if that data is corrected, we do see those issues clear up. So if you don't have an update from the support, again, just reach out, ask for follow-up, and I will most likely be involved in assisting them in finding that data. But hopefully they are able to work with you to resolve those, as far as relieving that stress now before we get a fix out.
Great, thank you. Now we've got some data quality report questions. My LSA data quality report has more columns than the one you showed on your screen. Can you explain what these columns mean and what we can use this file for?
So I'm assuming this is the separated out data quality, the one that we just barely separated. Yeah, so the extra columns that you're seeing are not required from HUD. I am adding them in accordance to, well, it's to merge elements from the LSA report CSV. There's a few columns that are indicators to HUD for data quality, like numbers, but they are decoupled from the enrollment, which I think makes it very difficult to find data quality issues. So there are a number of ones. So beyond what the social security number, valid, status 1, status 3, while those do play into these other numbers and other counts, they are related to a document that you receive back from HUD saying the numbers of, there's certain ones that are data quality. And so these extra columns are to help identify which clients or which enrollments are showing as or being counted in these counts within the report, the report CSV. So I don't know if that makes sense. If you have a support ticket as a question, we can help answer that. Hopefully that answers your question a little bit. It's really just to make data quality enrollments more visible to you, rather than having to try to reverse engineer the specs with the data or with the values that the enrollment has. So, and this is a continual process. I have only added a few columns. There will be actually a lot more that are added over the upcoming weeks to help identify data quality issues at a enrollment specific level. So 0 in those columns being that they are not being included in account, and 1 being that they are included. And those columns name align with the columns in the report CSV. But again, there's only a few for now. More will be added as we can get around to it. So
great, thank you, Chris. All right, we've got a bunch of questions about where the flag files, the full flag list is located. You can access that on GitHub by searching just for the LSA. Or if you would like us to send you the Excel spreadsheet, you can reach out to your client success manager, and we'll make sure to share that out with you all. All right, so let's see. Justin asks, why does a project need a funding source for geocode to appear in HDX? Justin, I'm going to go ahead and field this one and say that we should probably talk to HUD about that one. So if that's a question you would like me to take to HUD, I'm more than happy to do that. I do want to mention that I meet with HUD and Apt Associates, and the other vendors are on that call as well every week to talk about current issues with the LSA, anything like that. And those are on Thursdays, so I can definitely bring that up at the next one. Well, I guess next week is Thanksgiving, so not the next one. But I'll reach out and ask that question for you and let you know what we hear back. So let's see. We were told that the LSA runs were offloaded to other tables. We no longer have access to remove our LSA runs. We just don't see that option anymore. Is there another way that we can remove the LSA runs?
That is actually handled now by the report, removing those old LSA runs. So again, to kind of go back and try to clarify some points, it's really at this point, well, before it was necessary, now it's being taken care of automatically. And yeah, so it is being offloaded to separate tables during that process. So it'll move the staging data to that table with the underscore archive. So we archive that data in a non-impactful way so that it can still be queried and that data can still be analyzed without impacting the report. So I don't know if that fully answers your question. I can't go into depth, like full depth of the technology, but this was a huge infrastructure change that was simple but very effective. Again, it's kind of automatically handled the set for removal. So only if it's an option do you have to worry about it. If it's not an option, that means it's already been taken care of. So nothing to worry there.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Schofield says, what if we do not have an accepted export? All of our LSA uploads have been rejected in HDX. Mr. Schofield, have you submitted a support issue around that? And you can take yourself off mute if you need to. It's fine. Okay, well, I'm not hearing anything yet. So to answer your question, Mr. Schofield, if you haven't already submit a ticket with support, I will bring that up with them this afternoon. I meet with support daily on this as well. So next question is, last year we had the ability to choose projects to be included in the LSA system-wide report. This was helpful as our system houses several non-HMIS projects were able to be excluded. Why has this feature been eliminated?
You want me to answer that question, Aaron?
Yeah, please.
So this is in accordance with HUD programming specifications. They did not want us to allow the selection of programs in system-wide. But that is an interesting scenario that I don't know if that was considered when HUD was building all these specs. I'm not sure how to fully answer the question in regards to, well, I mean, why it's disappeared is to align with HUD spec. Why that's been changed on HUD side, I'm not fully sure. I wonder if we need to submit an AAQ or talk to a representative about if we can make that option available, Aaron.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
It's really just a simple rule change, so it's just a matter of what HUD will allow us to do. So we can look into that and try to get back to you on if we can make that adjustment. So
Great, thank you. All right, is there a preferred way to submit vendor error flags? Yes, so you can submit those either through your client success manager or through a support ticket. That would be very, very helpful. Thank you. All right, what are the best methods to tracking down these deleted clients using the LSA export files?
that is the challenge that we've been trying to overcome. There's not really a way to track those down effectively unless you know what clients are or which enrollments are showing up as for the HH vet or whatever, all the different statuses, which enrollments that the head of household is deleted. Now there's a simpler way to do this within, if you have query designer rights, you can just look for if you look at the CM client table where active status is D, and then interjoin an the enrollment table to client ID where the active status is A. You can also look at the start and range and the COC, those are included in. That's the simplest way, I would say. That's going to return all of your systems, all of the issues within the system. But if you want to look further into, like, if you want to narrow it down as far as which COC they're in, the active dates, that may take a little more experience. You can work with our support in building that out, or we can try to provide an official method through the LSA to do that. But at the moment, there's not a super effective way using the LSA files just because of the nature of the issue. So
Great.
yeah, if you are having trouble, just reach out to our support team and they can provide a list of clients that need resolution, or again, use the method as I mentioned with Query Designer to try to find those, to identify those.
All righty. Well, thank you, Chris. Right, and I am not seeing really any other questions right now that we haven't already addressed. Are there any further questions? We're we're ending a little early. So if you have any other questions, now is the time. You can take yourself off mute. You can type it in the question. We'll give everybody just another minute before we dismiss. You can also raise your hands if you do have any questions. Why wouldn't active enrollments with deleted clients not be filtered out?
They are filtered out. This is an issue where it's actually looking at the head of household. And that is the actual problem, is that they aren't getting included. But the look back, so there's a look back period of enrollments of 2 years that HUD has defined, and this is kind of a gray area in their specs, because it just says to pull all of the enrollments that are related to the projects and the COC, but those aren't being included, and that's why those values in the LSA exit are showing as null for the head of household, because they aren't being included, but there is a different head of household. There's the head of household which is not active, so those values come back null. And that's a problem in the universe where you don't have an active head of household for this enrollment that's within that look back range. So not getting too muddy in the details, that is the issue, is that those enrollments, those clients aren't being included. But if you do take those enrollments out of an active state, so you take the report range, or sorry, you end date it, or you can delete it, then it corrects the issue. So yeah, again, we are working on a fix, and hopefully we can have that out within a week or two for that. So look forward to that. But yeah, if you need immediate resolution, you do have to end date those enrollments so that they go through the appropriate channels within the LSA. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, Chris. We have a new question of how can we access the recording? We are going to email out a link to you all to be able to access that. So, all right, we've got a couple more. Is there a way to replace the current official HUD submission files? Currently, HUD only allows one official submission at a time. Last year, I was able to change the status of prior official submissions to local submission and submit a new official file. I tried doing that earlier today and got an error message. Yeah, that should still be the case, that you can submit it to a local use only file and then re-upload an official file. We don't actually have any control over HDX or their systems. So if you're still getting an error, I would advise maybe reaching out to them. But currently, we've been told that's the way that you upload a new file, is to change that to local use only. All right. Are there any other comments or questions right now? All righty, I'm not seeing anything. So just a couple more housekeeping things here. Please make sure that you get an LSA upload, excuse me, a file uploaded to HDX. We were originally told by the 27th of November. Now we're being told the 2nd of December. The earlier you could get it in, the better. You need to have an upload to HDX with 0 upload errors by that time. Also, please keep in mind that Eccovia will be closed for Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving. So if you want to get us questions before then, that'd be great. And we'll be back in the office on Monday. And I'm not seeing any other questions. So thank you all so much for coming to this. I hope that this was helpful to you. If you have any other questions, please submit them via support, and we will take a look at them and get back to you as quickly as we can. Thank you all again so very much, and we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, everyone.